So good evening, student. Welcome to the second session of organizational behavior. And as we discussed the basic concept of OB in the last class, and what we have covered up, we have discussed about the introduction about what is behavior. We have also discussed about what do you mean by organization and the different concept related to that. Then we discuss about the definition of OB related to different dimensions as well when it's come to technical, conceptual, and the human dimensions. Sorry. After that, we have also covered up about different issues related to OB. Then we have covered up the historical background of OB when it's come to the scientific management theory given by Taylor, bureaucratic approach given by Max Weber, Hawthorne experiments we have also covered up, nature of OB, and OB interdisciplinary approach, how OB is related with the different disciplines when it's come to psychology, sociology, social psychology, anthropology, economics, and political science. So that what we have covered up in the first session. Okay. The today's session will discuss about the levels. We'll also discuss about the OB at different disciplines, and we'll also cover up about the basic OB models. So that is the structure which we're going to cover up in today's class. Okay. In between, if you have any query, you can raise your hand. I will unmute you and we can discuss those. Okay. So the option with you is already there. You can raise your hand. Okay. So I'll just unmute you and we can discuss. So the next topic of discussion is your OB at different level. I think if you remember in the last class, we have discussed about organizational behavior is basically helping the company in order to analyze why and how an individual behaving in a particular situation. And as you know that each and every employee, each and every individual having their own way of working in the company, own way how a particular person may react in certain situation, it totally depends on their behavioral pattern. And why and how one will behave, definitely the study of the same is basically done at the different level. Now when we discuss about the different levels means at individual level, at interpersonal level, at group level, and at intergroup level. So basically what we're going to cover up in this, because OB is always helping the company, OB always helps the organization in order to analyze basic two question. Analyze what? That is about why and how an individual behaves in a particular way. Because as you know that each and every individual having their own way to think, own way to work in the organization. And for a particular contingency, for a particular situation, how a particular person will behave in a certain way, it totally depends on their behavior. And that behavior analysis is basically come under category of your OB analysis. Okay. Now, the OB or organizational behavior can be understood at different level. Okay. So OB at different level will be, because we are discussing about the major four levels over here. Okay. So first one we'll talk about right now, the OB at interpersonal level. Second one would be group level. And the third one, it would be intergroup level. Okay. Now I'll give you an example for that about the interpersonal level. Okay. Because when we discuss about the interpersonal level, we are talking about the analysis of the interpersonal interaction. Okay. Interpersonal means that you could say the connection or the vibes or the bonding between two employees or among the different employees if we talk about. Okay. Because when we discuss about this interpersonal level, we are discussing about the reciprocal relationship, their role analysis, their transactional analysis are the basic method in order to understand the interpersonal level or interpersonal interaction. So if we can in a simple language, that is nothing but interaction of human resources. in the company. Okay. Now these interaction can be studied with the help of the methods to analyze are, first one is reciprocal relationship, comma, role analysis, role analysis, and transactional analysis. And transaction analysis are the few methods with the help of which we can actually analyze interpersonal interaction of human resource in the organization. Okay. Now, when I'm just talking about the interpersonal level, you can see that the first part we're talking right now, that is reciprocal relationship. How a particular person is responding towards each other. Like, for example, at the same cadre, the sales manager for different locations, sales manager for different, you could say, portion may interact with each other. So reciprocal means how two individuals are reacting towards each other. Role analysis means a particular responsibility or particular job is assigned to a particular person, and how a particular person is reacting in such situation, in such contingency. That would be the part of your role analysis. And next one is transactional analysis. Transactional means a particular, you could say, activity or a task or responsibility is assigned to someone, how the activity will be accomplished by a particular person, and the behavior during those process will be the part of your transactional analysis. So there are the major few methods we have, which is under interpersonal level, that is reciprocal, role analysis, and transactional analysis. The second category of interpersonal level skills, it would be your group level. Now at the group level, definitely we talk about the, you could say, the group pressure, or how a particular group behave in its norm, in its cohesion, in its goal, in its procedures, in communication, and the leadership. Okay. So when we discuss about the group level analysis, the group level analysis includes how a group behaves, in its norms, comma, cohesion means what sort of bonding they have. Okay. The cohesions, when we talk about their goals, when we talk about their procedures, when we discuss about communication and leadership. So there's a major, you could say, input in this particular part. Okay. So that is about your norms, cohesion, goals, procedure, communication, and the leadership. So this is how a particular group level activity can be ascertained. Okay. Now we discuss about the intergroup relationship. Intergroup means in an organization, we have sub teams or teams available. Like one team is handling MP department, one team is handling Maharashtra department, but they all are working for same organization. So intergroup relationship is basically nothing but the forms of cooperation, or competition, because there may be two scenario in this case, competition. There may be two scenario in this. So whenever we talk about this particular intergroup level is basically made up of two things. That is about the either they are cooperating with each other or there is a competition. Now major, always remember, the competition may be constructive, may be destructive, but it's always important that how the two groups are basically associated or related with each other. That is a part of your intergroup level analysis. I hope so it is clear, everyone. If you have any query, you can raise your hand, we can discuss. If not, then we'll move to the next topic. I think I can see 5 students, Prakash, Dipta, and Poonam. You can raise your hand, please, if you have any query. I'll unmute you and we can discuss those. I hope so you know how to raise the hand on Zoom. It might not be new for you. So if it is done, we'll start the next topic. I hope so. I should proceed. I'm unmuting everyone right now. Please, if you have any query, do let me know, please. You can unmute yourself now if you have any query. No queries, I think so. Okay, so let's move to the next part. If you have any query in between, please, you can raise your hand. We will discuss those. Now, the next topic and important topic is discipline that contributes OB field. And I think if you remember in the last class, we discussed about the different disciplines we have, which are associated with organizational behavior. You can see that psychology, sociology, social psychology, anthropology, economics, and political science. Okay. Now, you can see this diagram right now. That is about the different discipline when it's come to psychology, social psychology, sociology, and anthropology. How these departments, or how these, you could say, behavioral science are associated with organizational behavior, or you could say study of the organizational behavior. Okay. Now, in this case, the first point we are talking right now, that is about the organizational behavior. The first behavioral science approach which we'll discuss over here is about your psychology. Okay. Now, I think if you remember in the last class, we have discussed about psychology part. Okay. What do you mean by psychology? Okay. So just wait a minute, I think. Yes, students. So let's proceed now. Now, in this case, first of all, we'll discuss about psychology. Always remember, if you remember last time we discussed about psychology, that is about the why an individual behave in a particular way. Okay. So first of all, always remember the psychology is always associated with the individual behavior. Always associated with the individual behavior. And you can see that because of psychology analysis, because of psychology, you could say measurement, we can actually understand all these basic parameters when it's come to learning, motivation, personality, emotion, perception, trainings, leadership effectiveness, job satisfaction, individual decision making, performance appraisal, attitude measurement, employee selection, work design, and work stress. These contributions are basically the major part of analysis of individual behavior. Why an individual is reacting or behaving in a particular way in the organization, it is because of all these particular contribution or all this particular reason. Fine. So the psychology is basically nothing but it measure, explain, and because when we talk about the analysis of a particular person, these psychology part always helping the company in order to analyze, measure, and you could say change in the behavior of a particular individual. And these are the major contribution, major inputs in such regards. Okay. And these are the unit of analysis we have. That is about the individual level, these particular contribution may intact as well. Okay. Now, this individual behavior is basically nothing but the major part of your study of OB actually. Study of OB, it's all about because study of OB is also associated with the individual behavior, and why a particular individual behaving in this sense, it is basically the study of psychology. I hope so this part is clear to everyone, what this psychology is all about. Because psychology are always associated with individual behavior. Clear, everyone? Okay, we'll move to the next part now. That is about social psychology. Okay, now social psychology is basically the branch of psychology, first of all, and it is basically the blend of two basic concepts, that is about the sociology and psychology. This social psychology is basically focused on people's influence on one another. It basically focuses on people's influence of one another. For example, a particular new employee joined in the company. Because of the entry of the new boss or new worker or new, you could say, colleague in the company, how a particular person is reacting or behaving in certain sense. So that is the part of your social psychology. Social psychology is basically associated with behavioral changes, attitude changes, communication, group process, and group decision making may be directly or positively or negatively affect the company's proceedings as well. Okay. Always remember, in social psychology, we are basically talking about group behavior, the power, and the conflict among the group members. That is again the analysis of group, and this group analysis is again the major part of your organizational behavior. Okay. The next part we have, that is about sociology. Sociology is basically study of individual, study of relationship between social environment or the culture of a particular person. Okay. Now, this particular social analysis is basically based on communication, power, conflict, and intergroup behavior. Or we can say that the former organizational technology, change, and the culture. Each and everything is analyzed under sociology. And this sociology is basically the part of your group behavior. Along with that, organizational system. When we talk about the culture of a company, the culture of the company is totally based on the sociology. And this sociology and the study of this group is basically again one of the most important part of your study of OB. Okay. The next and the last part is basically your anthropology. Anthropology is basically is all about the societies, how a particular human being is reacting in that, and what activity they used to perform in this case. Okay. So anthropology is basically is all about culture, environment, values, attitude, behavior of person belong to different country, we can say, different states, we can say, or different territory, we can say. So how a particular person is behaving when we talk about the comparative values. Comparative value means the person belong to different culture, different language, different caste, different countries. Comparative attitude, cross cultural analysis, organizational culture, organizational environment, and the power. Again, this is a major important part which may be the part of group as well. You can see that of group as well. Along with that, this is the important part of organizational system as well. And ultimately, these all important concepts are associated with the major part of study of organizational behavior. Okay. I hope so. This part is clear to everyone. If it is clear, we'll move to the next topic. Haji, is there any query to anyone? If so, you can raise your hand and we can discuss those, please. Haji, is there any doubt, any query to anyone? I'm unmuting everyone right now. You can discuss, you can ask with your doubts now, please. Yes. Ms. Poonam, Prakash, Sudipta. Any query as of now?
No query, sir. It's clear.
Okay, it's clear. Thank you so much. So I think we should proceed to the next topic.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Prakash, tell me.
So can you define this anthropology once again?
Yeah, definitely. See, when we discuss about the anthropology, it is basically the complete analysis of a human being. Okay. Complete analysis, when we talk about, it's all about their culture, their caste, their, you could say, the country they belongs to, their creed they belong to. Because as you can see that the different human resource from different country or different state, if you talk about in India, having different way to behave in a certain situation. Okay. So analysis of all those basic parameters when it comes to their style of working, when we come to their approach toward a particular situation, each and everything, and these study of all these parameter or all these points come under anthropology. So you can see that a comparative analysis. Comparative means the comparison of one employee with the other because of the differences or because of the, you could say, root they belongs to. Okay, so that is the
Okay.
company studies come under category of your anthropology.
Okay, understood, sir. Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, because see, actually what we are doing right now, we are discussing the basic concept, and if you want any example for any of the point, please do let me know in between. Okay,
Right,
you
sir.
can raise your hand, so I think that would be far better to discuss about.
Okay. Thank you.
Clear? Yeah, pleasure. Any more doubt, please?
So how this comparative values are related to anthropology?
See, first of all, like when we discuss about the anthropology, we need to understand what is the meaning of this. It is nothing but the complete, or you could say the whole study of societies, about the how human being and their activities are being judged and analyzed. Okay, for example, if it belongs to India, we might have some different way of working, different thinking process, different working, you could say, grounds as well. Okay, so when we discuss about, like, you're talking about the comparative analysis, comparative value. Okay, so comparative values, comparative analysis, when we talk about how we can judge that, we can judge on the basis of culture, environment, their values, their attitude, or their behavior. These are the basic parameter on the basis of which we can compare the system of a company. For example, we always talk about the work environment of any country or any company. Like, for example, a company based on US, company based in Africa, company based in India, having different work culture. And these work cultures are basically analyzed under anthropology. I hope so.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah, clear, Ms. Poonam?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yes. Any more query, please?
Sir, a good example would be the work culture in Google,
Yes.
because they have a different way of working, different style of working. Uh, so it could be a good example. I think so.
Yeah, definitely. Like, now, not only Google actually, because if you will go to various IT firms as well, okay, the big IT brands, they
Right.
have a different free hand to different regions. For example, if you talk about Asian region, they have a different policies to work on. If you have the US region or any other territory or contingent, if you talk about, the companies are giving actually the space to breathe to their employees. It is very, very, very important in the company as well. And this space breathing is basically important part when we come to the analysis about the different culture, different, you could say, the system of an organization.
Right. Right.
I hope so. Am I clear with this?
Yes, yes, sir. Because I've seen the office in Switzerland of this Google. It's got a. They don't have desks and chairs. They only have, lift like cubicles, and they discuss in that. It's a different environment altogether.
Okay, okay. Yes, definitely, Prakash. Absolutely correct.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah, pleasure. Shall we move to the next topic, please? Because I think this week and might be next week we'll discuss few case studies as well. Okay, so right now just I'm going through the basic part of this particular subject in this week, and maybe definitely once the syllabus is about to complete, we'll actually go through with some case studies, which is very, very important to discuss about these particular topics. Okay, so let's start with the next part, that is about your OB model. Okay, now the basic OB model I'll discuss right now. Okay, and then after that I'll just go through with some advanced models. Okay, first of all, when we discuss about the basic OB models, okay, this basic OB model is basically consist of three major dimensions. Okay, three major dimensions is, the first part is about the inputs. Okay, now inputs may be at three different level, because we discuss about this particular diagram, that is about the individual level, group level, and organization level. Okay, so now on the base of that, the different parameters, different, you could say, dimensions, which we need to study as well. Okay, now first thing, when we discuss about the inputs, okay, what are inputs? First of all, we need to understand inputs are the basic variable, like variable, when we talk about in a simple term about like personality, you can see that. When we discuss about the group structure, we talk about the organizational culture, the diversity, the value, Okay, so these are the basic part, because these organizational behavior inputs at individual level, because as you know that individual level we are talking about the analysis of each and every person working in the company, and how each and every individual differs from other is definitely, these are the basic parameters: diversity, personality, value, group structure, you could say the culture. Each and everything always counts. Okay, when we discuss about the process of the same, because an individual may have certain mind mapping, may have certain, you could say, processes through which he can actually, or the particular individual can actually provide a desired outcome, or you could say expected outcome for the organization. Okay, so here what we're discussing right now about the input, process and outcomes. Okay, that is about the what are the, you could say, different experience, knowledge, beliefs, values they have, and how the company is utilizing all those important characteristics in order to attain certain desired outcome out of a particular individual at group level or at organizational level. Okay, now you can see that at group level, what are different inputs we have? Okay, at the group level, if we talk about, we have group structure, group role, group responsibilities, group commitment towards the organization. These are major part of the inputs we're talking about. And when we discuss about the organization level, we're talking about the organization culture, means we're talking work culture, and along with that, the hierarchy of roles and responsibility, or you could say hierarchy of line and staff, or hierarchy of the powers and authorities given to different individuals in the company. That structure and that input is again the most important part, because this organization level is basically always setting the tone of working in any organization. Okay, so individual level, group level and organization level, we're talking about these basic inputs of any company or any institute to talk about. Okay, now these inputs are basically going through with a process may be, you could say, may differ actually at different level of, or different hierarchy of the company, at individual, group or organization level. Now when we discuss about the process at individual level, okay, now first of all we need to understand what is the meaning of process. Okay, now the input which we talk about, which are basically, like if in a simple language we can understand, these inputs are basically nouns. These inputs are basically the nouns. Okay, now how these inputs are basically categorizing, how these inputs are basically used or implemented, executed in the company with the help of certain verbs. Okay, so like if I type in simple language, the inputs are nouns. Okay, always remember, and processes are verbs, because with the help of particular verb we can actually execute, we can actually implement the desired outcome which the company is expecting for. Okay, so always remember, the processes are basically the actions that individual, group or organization engage in a result of an input, and these inputs will basically generate certain outcomes for the company at different level. Okay, because the process at individual level may be emotion and the mood of a worker, their motivation, their perception, their decision making power, their thinking process, their mind mapping. Each and everything will come under individual level. Okay, now at the group level, if you talk about the communication among group members, the leadership of the group, the power and the politics among the group, and conflict and negotiation in case of any disputes. That is about the process. Because see, the process is basically the actual execution, implementation or working of any group in the organization. Okay, and the last part is an important part about the human resource management and the change practices. These are at the organizational level. Now at the organizational level, if we talk about, we're talking about the human resource management, how the companies are basically considering the importance, their benefits, which may be monetary, non-monetary, their increments, their you could say appreciation, certain you could say roles, responsibility. Okay, so human resource management means how the companies are managing their bundle of you could say individuals, and how the individuals are basically feeling motivated while working in the organization. Okay, that is about human resource management. And the last part which come under category, that is about the change practices. Okay, the change practices is all about how the company is coping up with the dynamic changes in the market, and because of dynamic changes, how the companies are basically accepting or facing all the challenges which they might have from the competitors, they might have from the, you could say, their peer companies, or from their you could say their counterparts, we can say. So these are the basically part of your organizational levels. They are processed right now. Now the last part which come under outcomes, okay, that is about the ultimate, you could say, variable which we want to predict, and which is being affected by a particular action. Okay, now when we discuss about the outcomes, outcome at individual level may be attitude and stress, maybe the performance of the task performance of an individual, the behavior of a citizen, and withdrawal. Withdrawal means how a particular person is actually withdrawing from a particular situation or a task or responsibility. That may be the outcome as well. So outcome may be positive, may be negative. It totally depends on the behavior of a individual. Clear? Now the group level. Now group level may be group cohesion. Cohesion means basically is all about their bonding, their you could say their association. Okay, group functioning is all about how the group actually perform in different situation, under different leadership, under, you could say, different atmosphere or the environment which they are working out. That is about the outcome at the group level. And the organization level, it is basically nothing but the integrated analysis when it's come to productivity of the company and the survival in the tough situation or at the downturn of the company, how the companies are basically surviving or behaving in a particular situation. So that is the part of what your outcomes. I hope so it is clear, everyone, this OB model. I am unmuting everyone again, and you can ask your queries if you have any. Yes. Hanji, is there any query to anyone in this basic OB model?
No query, sir.
No query, Sulta. Thank you. Anyone else having any query, please, in this OB model? Hanji, is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Sure. Thank you so much. Now we'll move to the next topic. Now the next, we'll take a very simple topic first of all, and then we'll move to the last topic of the day, that is models of OB, after a break. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to discuss the scope and importance of OB first, and then move to the last topic of the day, that is models of OB. Okay, now scope and importance, or you could say implication of OB in real world. The first thing is about the controlling and directing behavior. Controlling and directive behavior. Now, what is controlling and what is directive behavior? As you can see that, because when you talk about the mechanism of human behavior, or how a particular manager or the boss in the company always control their company, control their employee, control the process in the organization, and how they are actually directing, guiding, motivating, mentoring the employees in the company. Okay, so the major roles responsibility when it's come to OB is the controlling and the direction given to their employees. It should be in a certain way. It should be as per the you could say the requirement of the company. And all these, you could say, sense of controlling and direction always come from the, you could say, good leadership, good sanction power, you could say smooth communication, or you could say building a favorable climate condition or favorable, you could say, environment in the company, so that there would be a better interaction among the employees. Okay, so the controlling and behavior part is come under use of power, and you could say leadership is again an important part. What else we can consider in this? The communication and better interaction. So there are major parameters which come under controlling and directive behavior. Okay. Now the next part we have in this particular scope and importance. Let me just highlight this point. That is about your use of power and sanction. Use of power and sanction. Okay. I'm just coming to you. Okay. I think there is one raising hand. Okay. I'll just come to you. Let me complete this topic, I think. So when we talk about this use of power and the sanction, as I told you already, it is basically the capacity of an individual to take certain action. Okay. The capacity or the power, capacity of an individual to take certain action. Right? Like we take a very simple example. For example, if we are talking about a manager in the company, manager may have some power to hire someone, to actually fire someone from the company, to kick out from the company. There may be some power related to decision making in the company. How the power assigned to a particular person is being utilized in a positive direction, in the favorable manner, so that it won't affect the culture, work culture in the organization. So use of power and sanction is again the most important part in the characteristics of organization. The next one is the leadership. Okay. The leadership, when we talk about, it's very, very simple. That is about the leadership style of the manager and the authorities working in the company. Now, which type of leadership style suited to the company? It is the most important part. So leadership is all about the style, if you take it in simple language, style of leadership of managers and other authorities, because that's the most important part in any organization. But what type of leadership we have in the company? Okay. The next part, or the fourth point under the scope and importance, is all about the communication. Okay. The communication, as I already explained you, the communication is nothing but the interaction among the employees of the company, and this communication must always be effective. And effective communication is a responsibility of the manager or the authorities, and this will basically create a base of interpersonal dynamics. Base of interpersonal dynamics. So important thing is that in the communication, we are talking about interpersonal dynamics of the individuals. Okay. The next part we have, that is point number 5th. That is about organizational climate. Now, when we discuss about the organizational climate, it is basically the situation affecting human behavior. Situation affecting human behavior. Okay. Now, in this case, the important part is the perspective which affecting human behavior. Now, what perspective we are talking right now? We're talking about the supervision, the compensation, we're talking about the climate of the company, the goals, the relationships in the organization, or you could say at the workplace, and sense of accomplishment which an individual must have. Okay. So organizational climate is basically based on situations affecting human behavior. Because as you can see that the situation in the company is not same on daily basis. There are certain challenges, certain, you could say, downturns, certain ups and downs in the company, which may affect the working you could say, profile of particular individual. And the last one is organizational adaptation. Now, adaptation is basically, or you could say adaptation, basically, when we talk about, it is the most pervasive change. Okay, because when you change your job, when you change your, you could say, your profile, when we talk about changes of different, you could say, culture, different targets, different challenges in each situation, because each and every organization having their own way of working, and in this case, the adaptation is basically the part of how the you could say the individual is basically what we can say, resist to any change. Because if a particular person resisting to a change, definitely he or she is not actually looking to improvise, looking to adapt the work culture or the environment which a particular person is about to provide them. Okay, so it is always, remember, it is pervasive change in any organization. So there are the major, you could say, scope, importance, the areas of the organization. I hope so it is clear, everyone. I'm unmuting everyone right now. You can ask your query if you have any. Yes. Any doubt till this point? Yeah.
So here the use of power is individual or group or
Miss Poonam, the power is basically given to certain authorities. Like for example, if I'm a team leader and I'm managing 15 members in my organization, so power which is being assigned by the top management to that team leader, to manage the team of 15, is basically use of power by a particular individual in the company.
okay, sir.
And whether it is
So
in the
this
yeah,
this
please.
organization climate is often known as organization culture.
Organization climate.
Yes, sir.
No.
There is a often discuss this organization climate. What is difference between organization climate and culture?
See, climate is basically like when we talk about, because of the climate, the culture is defined. Okay, because like we talk about the different working style of different company. For example, if you're working in an IT company, they have a different culture because of the climate. Climate means basically the you could say the domain in which you're working for. Okay, so that is basically affecting with the climate is basically all about a particular, you could say, macro concept. Okay, but when you talk about the culture is all about the micro concept at a particular organization level.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
any more doubt, please? Haji, any more query, please? If not, then we'll take a break of 10 minutes now. Okay, and we'll start the last topic, that is models of organization behavior.
So in case the team leader is not present, so the directive behavior goes to somebody else who is junior to team leader.
Yes, definitely, because there is a passage of power and authorities given to someone.
Authority, huh?
Yeah, for example,
Yes.
if I'm a branch manager in a bank and I'm not
Yes,
available
sir.
for next 1 month, so definitely that power is basically assigned on you could say what the term is, on not probation.
No, sir. There is a different term used.
Yeah, there's a different term actually. For a temporary basis, the worker is coming to a company to take the charge of someone else.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes.
I didn't remember the word right now, but there is a word actually which is being used, power assigned for a temporary period to a particular person.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Clear, Ms. Poonam?
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clear, sir.
Sure. So shall we go for a break now, and we'll get back to it 6:05 sharp?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. Yes, friend, we can resume now. And now we'll start the next topic. I hope so everyone has joined back. And we'll discuss about the models of organizational behavior. The next and the important topic of our syllabus as well. That is models of OB. Okay. Now, basically, we have 4 major models of OB. And if you can name it out, the first one is called Autocratic Model. Second is called the Custodial Model. Third is called Supportive Model. And the fourth one is called the Collegial Model. Okay, so let me just type it. The first is Autocratic Model. The second one is Custodial. The third one is Supportive. And the fourth one is Collegial. Now, these are the basically different theories we have when it's come to way how the company actually analyzing the behavior of their organization. Okay, so let's start with very first part about autocratic model. Okay, now as I think we discussed in the last class about what is autocratic situation or autocratic way to manage an organization. Okay, now when we discuss about the autocratic model, the autocratic model is basically associated with whenever the manager has all the power, all the command over the subordinate. Okay, and the manager always believes or thinks that he is the best one in the company to take any decision. Okay, and he is not actually looking forward for any suggestion, any inputs from their subordinates, and employee must always have to follow their order. Okay, in this case, usually what happened in such a model of organization, the employees are basically increasing dependency on their boss only. Okay, and somehow it may be the one of the biggest weakness of any company when it's come to high human cost in terms of turnover. Okay, so like very simple language, autocratic model, that the managers or manager has all the power and command over his subordinates, Now he believes that he is best in the organization. I think you all are working professional. You might know this sort of bosses we always have in the organizations. Okay, so he thinks that he's the best in the organization, and employees has to, or I could say must have to, follow their orders. So employees are required to follow their orders. You don't have any option, I think so. Okay, so employees are always have to follow their orders. Okay, now the one of the, you could say, biggest disadvantage of this particular part, that is about the high human turnover cost. Because as employees do not have the breathing space, it is like more about dictatorship. It's all about like thinking not to actually cooperate and think about from your subordinate perspective as well. And somehow the psychological result in such a situation is all about the increasing dependency on the boss. Increasing dependency on boss or leader of the company. Okay, so such leadership still exists in the market, and as we know that we all are the working professionals, you might have seen such leadership style or such you could say style of managing the company in the market. Okay, the second category which come under this particular part is called your custodial model. Now, when we discuss about the custodial model, okay, in this type of model of behavior, organizational behavior, the manager always focus on the better employee satisfaction and security. Okay, the focus on better employee satisfaction and security, because the most importance have given to their peer, their subordinates in the company. Okay, and in this type of model, they always think about the welfare and needs of the employee. Welfare and needs of employees are important, or it should be in the priority in the company. Okay, and the dependency of employee in such a model, like in a simple language, dependency in this type of model is on organization rather to a particular person, is on organization rather than on boss. Okay, so that is again the difference between the previous model and the custodial model we have. Okay, the result, okay, it results in economic rewards and benefit to the employees, because the organization can think about their benefits, their expectation, their you could say satisfaction. Okay, the employees are happy work environment, we can say happy work environment. Okay, but the major criticism of this particular model, that the workers are not strongly motivated towards work. Not strongly motivated towards work. Okay, so that is the only disadvantage we have about this cultural model, because it is not more about the workaholic environment, or you could say the focus is only about the benefit or the importance given to the employee. It's very important, but simultaneously you need to think about the work culture, the work pressure, the targets of the company. So that is again one of the only disadvantage in this case, not strongly motivated towards the work when it's come to the employees of the organization. Okay, third model in this case, which is supportive model. It is supportive model. Now when we talk about supportive model, this model is based on leadership. This model is based on leadership rather on power and money. Because if we have a good leader, then definitely the company can flourish in an exponential manner. Okay. And the leadership is basically helping the employee to grow and to accomplish the interest of the organization, helping the employees to grow and accomplish in the interest of the organization. In the interest of the organization. Okay. Now, ultimately, when you talk about this sort of system, is basically always actually enhance, or you could say in a simple word, enhance the feeling of participation, because each and every worker is always feel participative, involved in every decision making. Okay. And the task involvement, because the companies are always taking their suggestion, their inputs, in case the company is facing certain problems in the organization. So enhance the feeling of participation and task involvement in an organization. Okay, so the major, you could say, part when it's come to supporting model. Okay, and the last model when we have in this category, that is called the collegial model. Okay, Now, when we discuss about the meaning of collegial, it is basically body of person having common purpose. Okay. First of all, the meaning of collegial is body of persons or a group of persons having a common purpose. Now, these may be, you could say, any social group, the director of the companies, the think tank of the company. Okay. And this collegial model, it is based on team concept. Based on team concept. Okay. Now, the management of the company is basically the coach, the trainer, the motivator, the mentor, the guide of the particular organization, and they are building a better team. Okay. So always remember, the management is the coach that builds a better team. Okay. So the most important thing, and it enhances self-discipline in the company. Always remember, self-discipline in the organization. Okay. So that is the most important part when it comes to collegial model, because under collegial model, it is mostly based on partnership. It is mostly based on teamwork, mostly based on, you could say, the self-discipline, which is the major part or major outcome of this particular part. And usually nowadays, the collegial models are always very, very helpful when we come to the organizational culture. So this is all about the major 4 models and the important topic of your syllabus. Okay. Is there any query to anyone? I'm just unmuting everyone now, and you can ask your query regarding this, please. Yes.
So which model is working in today's current environment?
See, all 4 models are working, first of all. Okay. Like when we talk about the autocratic, I think let me show the summary. I think so. Yeah, this is a summary of this. The autocratic model, as I told you, it's based on the dictatorship, the power. Okay. Usually you will find certain organization, like we talk about, you could say small startups, or particular proprietorship companies, where you have all the power to work with along with. Okay. You are not all actually inviting or participating or not taking input from your subordinates. Okay. So complete dependence on boss, not at all any participation or input from any subordinate in the company. Okay. You can see that the heads of this particular model and a certain characteristics, like for example, basics of model is power. So always remember, these all models are in fashion or in use even in the dynamic world right now. But when we talk about the constructive way to design a model, it is all about collegial. Even supportive is also good. See, it depends on the dynamics of a company, which model may suit. Like for example, if you talk about a sales team or a you could say sales and marketing company, they might have a different you could say periphery, different dimension to manage their organization, because the work pressure, the sales target are all together different concept. When you talk about the service sector might have some different dynamics of working in the company.
Yes, sir.
Clear? Yeah. This is a summary of all 4 models, please. If it is clear, we'll move to the last topic of the day, and that is limitations of OB. Okay. And then from tomorrow, we'll start individual behavior, the next topic.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, sure. So let's move to the last topic, I think so, and then we'll move for the last half an hour for open house without clearing session. Okay. So I'm muting everyone again, and we'll start the last topic, that is about the limitations of OB. The first limitation is basically it is a remedial approach, means it can actually cure a disease, not can completely remove it. Okay, so first and foremost thing, it cannot abolish or eliminate conflict from the company, because it can manage conflict but cannot completely avoid. So cannot abolish conflict and frustration, or you could say the politics in the company, but can only reduce them. They can manage it only, They cannot completely remove that. Okay. It is basically only one system. Okay, sorry, one of the many system operating within a large social system. Because this OB is basically is all about the study of human behavior, and it is a very vast and complex topic or complex study when we come from the researcher point of view. So only one of the many systems operating within a large social system. Okay. The third point, it may generate narrow viewpoint as well. Narrow viewpoint. It is also called basically tunnel vision. It is also called basically tunnel vision. Now, when we talk about a particular person do not have the knowledge about the company, their dynamic, their environment, it may possible that their growth, their approach towards working in the company might be, you could say, limited, or might be, you could say, very concise and concrete. In such a cases, such approaches or such OB approaches may actually give a limited growth perspective, or you could say unbalanced growth perspective in the organization. Okay. Next one, the law of diminishing return. The law of diminishing returns also operates in OB. Now, what is law of diminishing return? Which we need to understand first. Because as you know that some point of time it increase the you could say desirable return for the company, but sometimes it may give the negative returns because of the, you could say, any, you could say, issues in the company, some conflict, some, you could say, what we can say, some differences if it arises in the company. So there may be, you could say, many reason which is the part of your diminishing return in the organization. Now, the important part about, like, if we take an example, like for example, if you are actually imposing a lot of security, you could say passage or security concern, which may lead to initiative or less employee initiative and growth. Okay, because you are not somehow actually entrusting your employee, and because of certain, you could say, factor which might be, you could say, reducing the confidence and the attitude and the, you could say, the approach of person in the organization because of the negative environment, which may result to the diminishing return in the organization. Okay. Mr. Himanshu, I think we are quite intellectual. Please don't write anything on the screen. It's somehow disturbing the faculty, please. Okay. I hope so, student. You are not a kid actually, just to annotate something on the screen. So I'll request everyone, please kindly don't annotate anything on the screen, please. Okay. Yeah. There is limitation, the fourth point, and the last point we have, that is about the techniques and the approaches, the studies, or the, you could say, the dynamics which we are discussing under OB might not be helpful for human welfare in long run. Okay, because that may possible because it's change in culture, change in attitude, change in job preferences, change in job environment. Because of that, it may possible that the techniques could be used to manipulate people without regarding for human welfare. Okay, so the OB techniques may be, you could say, may manipulate, I think, write down, may manipulate people without regard of human welfare, because human welfare is one of the most important part of any organization when it's come to the integrated approach, or you could say the collegial approach, or you could say the constructive approach towards management of any organization. And that is all about the first half of your syllabus as well. Okay, so we are done with this first unit or the first part of your syllabus. Any query, any doubt to anyone, please? I'm just unmuting everyone and you can ask your queries now. Hanji. So house is open now for discussion regarding any topic from today and tomorrow, please. Yesterday, sorry. Because now I have to start a new topic, that is individual behavior, that will start from tomorrow only. Yes, students, I think I have unmuted everyone. You may ask your queries now. Yes, students, please kindly confirm. I think you can unmute yourself. And am I clearly audible, please?
Okay, sir. If required, then I will ask tomorrow. No issue.
Sure, definitely. No worries. Okay.
So the first point is that cannot abolish conflict and frustration. So if this conflict and frustration is not uh, finished, then how the company will work, sir? In case of, sir, this unions and anything, sir.
See, basically, when we talk about the approaches of different individuals, for example, like working in a bank, like you talk about the bank strikes or even the unions in the organization, each
Yes,
and
sir.
every individual having their own problem or own attitude, we can say, when we come to the working environment. Okay. So you can only manage those challenges, manage those situations in the company, but you cannot completely eliminate, because you cannot satisfy each and every individual with a particular, you could say, activity or a particular initiative. Okay, for example, if the workers are striking because of the salary hike, some might be happy with the salary and some might require some other benefits. So you can just actually reduce the conflict, reduce the issues in the company, but you cannot completely eliminate for longer period of time.
But under the unionship, the agenda is almost the same for everybody.
Yes. Almost same. Yes. Again, we're using almost same.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because the unions are meant for that only.
Yes, definitely. So it is not completely avoid. The better word is that it cannot be completely avoid, but it can be managed.
So if it is not avoided, they go for arbitrary court or anything, sir. In case they move union.
I think this is all about a legal different equity discussion, and like when we talk about the legality or the aspect how the union approaches. Okay, like recently you can see that the banks are going strike against the privatization of the government banks. Okay, the PSUs. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
somehow the agenda is fixed. Okay, so in that cases, how the government is actually managing that conflict. Managing, again, I'm using the word managing the conflict of all those
Yes.
central bank, I think, and other banks involved in that. So how they can manage those frustration, manage those conflict in an organization or you could say in a country of India, if you talk about, but it cannot completely eliminate that effect, because government will come to a win-win situation for both.
So what percentage is around 80-20 or 50-50?
No,
What percentage is?
See, Poonamji, actually, it is all about individual discretion. Okay, because this particular subject is all about how the situation is, accordingly how you are reacting, and each reaction
Yes.
varies from person to person. For example, like being you could say manager in the company, how to handle the team, how to increase the sales volume in the company. I might have different approach, you might have different approach. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
the different style of working, you can say different, you could say leadership style we talk about, different managership if we talk about, that is collegial. I think if you remember the collegial power, that is again one of the most important characteristics which the country must have to follow.
Yes, yes.
Company, sorry, not country. Okay, yes, because we'll discuss certain cases. I think next week I'll plan, I think out of 5 classes, we'll discuss at least in 2 classes the case studies. Very important, because the case studies are the gist of this particular OB topic.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any more query, Ms. Poonam?
No, sir. No, sir.
Sure. So I'll share all these notes with you. Okay, so don't worry for that.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any more doubt, please, to anyone? Anuj, Chandraprabha, Prakash, Soni, Kumari, and Songjit Sinha. Any query to anyone, please? If not, then we'll sign out for the day, and tomorrow we'll start the next topic, individual behavior.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll catch you tomorrow now.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Somjit. Thank you so much, everyone.